Hey everyone, welcome back to Playing Quietly. My name's Ryan, and today I am bringing you another Palworld video. Now, in 3 of my past videos, I've discussed what I believe to be the best starting base, second base, and third base. However, in today's video, I would like to discuss the locations of all the different mining cluster locations so that you can make the choice for your bases yourself without having to do all the looking that I did. Now, let's start off today's video with my pick for the best starting base location at 5, -525. So this base has a ton of ore nodes, and it is in a very flat location where we are able to build up a farm, a breeding farm, as well as a ton of other things that we are going to need throughout the game. Basically, there's going to be room for everything here. So this is still my pick for the best overall base. I would highly recommend this as your starting base. You really just can't go wrong with this location. It's got everything you are going to need to have a really strong start. Alright, so number 2 on our list is another very strong candidate for our starting base, and that is going to be located here at the coordinates of 156, -397. So again, we do have a lot of mining nodes here. We don't have necessarily as much space as we did in our first base. However, I think there is some unique building potential here, as well as a really good funnel and defense point that we can create here to choke off any invasions that we might come across. And for our next location, we are going to be heading to the west to 65, -401. So this area here we can see is a really cool kind of red fall area. We have the broken down church here, as well as this big rock face. Definitely a kind of a cool area to build a base in. Alright, so our next area here is not the most resource rich. However, we do have access to 2 forms of mining nodes here in that we have regular stone, and we do have a couple of nodes of ore. But the real draw to this place is going to be this really awesome flat area that we have here. We can build some really cool structures here if we really wanted to. And with some of the other locations, if you choose wisely, your main base really doesn't need to have a ton of ore as long as you are choosing one of the better bases that's going to have ore and coal later on. And this is going to be located at -249.37. Alright, for our next location, we are going to be moving south to the location of -263, -210. And that is going to be on this big sloping rock face here. Now, that sloping surface does present a few challenges for us, but we do see that we have a ton of mining nodes here and a pretty big open space. However, with that open space does come the possibility for a lot more raids, but with some strong defenses, I think we can get around it. And we're also going to have the added benefit of being near a fruit tree. Alright, so our next location is going to be located at -256, -364. And this is another fan favorite location up here on this mountaintop with these really cool trees. And again, we have some really cool building options that we have here, and we have a ton of ore nodes that are going to be super helpful for us. And we are in a location where we are going to see almost no raids. Alright, so this is going to be the first base that we talk about that is going to have a dual function, and that is going to be located at 191, -42. And this is where I recommend that you build your second base, and it's going to be this mountaintop structure here. So let's take a look at what we have going on here. We don't have any of the mining nodes up here. My pals have stripped everything away, but I assure you there are tons of ore and coal mines all over this area. And I do kind of use this as a building playground from time to time. So there are definitely some interesting structures that you can put up here. It has this really cool kind kind of hill area in the middle that you were able to build on and make some interesting structures. So, in all, I would say this is a really, really strong candidate for your second base. All right, our next location is going to be located just east, and that is going to be located at 309 -44. And this is going to be the first base we look at that is going to have 3 different nodes that we're able to tap from. So, number one, we are on a huge mountain area that is not going to see a lot of raid action. We are going to have access to 3 different nodes in the form of regular stone, ore, and we are also going to have a sulfur deposit right down here. And again, because of the unique layout here, we do have some cool building options, even though they might present a little bit of a challenge. All right, so far we have only been talking about places where the climate is in So far we've been talking about places that are in the regular climate range. Let's move on to the hot climate range. All right, so our first location that we are going to be looking at in the desert area is going to be located at 51154. Now, this might be a little bit close to this boss area here, but as far as I can tell, I believe you are going to be able to post a base up here. However, this terrain is definitely not ideal. However, we do have a pretty decent cluster of coal nodes. Now, moving along to our next location here is going to be at 580-151, and that's going to be on top of this kind of hill here. And we're going to have access to a few different nodes. We got coal, we have some ore, if I can find it. I know I've seen it. There it is. We have our ore, and I think we have regular rock around as well. So, in my opinion, this isn't the best area because we don't have a lot of flat space to work with, and the nodes are quite spread out. However, this video is all about just presenting you all the different options that we have out there. All right, so our next area is just right down the hill from the place we were just at, and that is going to be located at 551-152. And this is going to be a little bit more friendly in terms of this area over here. And you do see we have quite a bit of different things we can work with here. We have regular stone, we have an ore mine, and we have all this coal here. Now, the thing that I really worry about with areas like this are our idiot pals getting kind of stuck on these jagged rock areas. However, I'm hopeful that the developers are going to fix pathing at some point, and that will be a non-issue later on. But just something to keep in mind for right now. And in our next area, which is located at 621-305, we're going to be running into that kind of same problem where we have this really kind of craggy area here that might be a little difficult to move around, but we do have at least one ore node as well as several other coal nodes. All right, so next up at 290-240, we have another kind of mountaintop area where we're not going to be seeing a ton of raids. And this area is a little bit flatter. However, we do still have some of these rock faces. And we do see that we have our coal nodes all over the place here. All right, and for our last spot on this continent, I have saved the best for last. We have a much flatter space here with no kind of crazy craggy rock areas. We have a bunch of coal nodes as well as 2 ore nodes. And this area is going to be located here at 327-492. If you were going to choose one area on this continent, I would probably pick this area here because, again, we're on a nice mountaintop. And it's probably going to be a lot easier to build on than some of the other locations that we've discussed. All right, so we are moving on to the next heat continent, and that is going to be on the far west side. Now, primarily this continent is used for mining sulfur, And in my experience, sulfur is probably the thing you need the least of, or rather, it's the easiest thing to gather. And that is because of the location that we are at now, which is by the tower here. And it's going to be the pylon or the fast travel point located at negative 590, negative 532. And we see here that we're not going to be able to build here because of the tower, but we have a lot of mining nodes for sulfur that we're going to be able to mine and then run back to our base. But obviously some of you guys might want to build in this area, so let's go take a look at a few of the options that we have here. And we're going to start on these areas in the south, in that they're going to offer some different types of nodes for us aside from just sulfur. All right, so this first area is an area that I really, really like. It has a really good choke point for us. However, it is built in kind of a way that is going to present some challenges for our pals, given the issues that we currently have with pathing. However, using some creative building techniques, I think we're going to be able to get around it, and it's not going to be too difficult for us. And it's just a really, really cool location. And again, that is going to be located at negative 703, negative 638. Now, our next location is a little different. It is very wide open. We have a bunch of ore nodes. However, we don't have anything else to work with. So this is really just going to work as a kind of ore outpost for us. But this is going to be located just southwest of where we previously were at negative 764, negative 677. This next one is kind of an afterthought of mine. I just happened upon it while I was while I was making this video. And that is going to be located just to the east of where we were previously at negative 740, negative 700. And it's this outcrop on this cliff face here that might be kind of a cool cliffside base. I don't see us being able to do a ton with it, but again, like I said, this video is all about just showing you guys where these node deposits are so that you can find a cool base that you want to build with. Alright, so this area here I think is really, really cool. I am really excited about this one. It is located at negative 606, negative 720. And it's located in this area where we do have a little bit of building challenge, but we have just awesome scenery. We have this cool ocean view. We have this waterfall in the background. And if we were to get raided, we have this choke point right here where we could definitely build some defenses. And on top of all that, we have a sulfur node right here, as well as an egg spawn point. So again, I'm really excited about this location. I think it could be a really, really fun place to build. And then we have this location here, which is going to be located at negative 452, negative 682. And again, this is just kind of a fun hillside base here. It's definitely not my favorite location, but it might be something you're interested in working with. All right, so for our first sulfur mining location, we are going to be looking at this spot here, located at negative 494, negative 519. Now, this place is pretty decent for sulfur. However, we do see that there are a lot of enemies that spawn around here, and we don't have a lot of good surface area to work with. And unfortunately, that's going to be kind of the name of the game with a lot of the spots on this continent that are in the mountainous region. All right, this next spot here, however, we don't have a lot of prime real estate that we're able to work with, but we are in a much more secure location, and we do have quite a few sulfur nodes as well as an ore node. And that is going to be located here at negative 590, negative 405. All right, our next location is going to be located at negative 745, negative 36. And that's going to be this place here where we are in the middle of these two lava pools, but we have this nice little area that we have here that is going to have a bunch of sulfur nodes and some relatively flat space to build on. Alright, so our next location is located at -733, -351, and I think this is a really cool location in that it doesn't look all that flat. However, if we put down a foundation, it is actually relatively easy to build on after that. The problem you're going to have to worry about is your pals getting burned as they mine this sulfur. So, next up is going to be the location that I am going to recommend that if you want to build on this continent, I think this is going to be your best option. And that is going to be located at this area here at -659, -305. So this area is really interesting in that we have access to a lot of ore nodes, but also right over here we have access to a sulfur node, and right down here we have a few sulfur nodes from here, but also we are going to be located quite close to Jetragon. Alright, and last but not least, we are going to be moving into the cold areas where we can mine pure quartz. Now, the first place I'm going to show you here is what I believe to be the best area to build your quartz mining base, and that is going to be located at -256, 392. Now, this area is really, really good in that we have a lot of room to work with. We have a bunch of pure quartz nodes. A bunch of the nodes have actually been farmed already. But if we get creative with our building techniques, we have a really cool flat space to work with. Up here, we can build some really good areas for building farms or really anything that we can build on top of structures. And this next area located at -206, 247, and that's going to be located on this kind of hilltop area right here. We are going to have a really good defensive position here. However, we don't have a whole ton of space to work with. But still, I think we have enough if we just want to make a quartz mining post. And unfortunately, those are the two best quartz places that I could find, or really even the two best base areas that I was able to locate in the snow area, which is really disappointing because snow areas are my favorite areas in games, and I wish there was maybe a little bit better place to build, but unfortunately, I didn't really see too much out there. If there's stuff you guys have seen that I didn't post here, please let us know in the comments down below. I'm sure the community would love to see it. Now, there's one more place that I would like to show you guys, and I've been saving it for last because I think it might rival my current main base location for best main base in the game. And we're going to go and take a look at that right now. And finally, we have this location here on the map at -77, -318. Now, I think this place might actually rival my current main base for the title of best main base in the game. Now, as we see here, we can actually access it quite early in the game, probably earlier than we're able to access my current main base. And we have access to a ton of ore nodes. We have one coal node down here, and even over here we're going to have access to a single sulfur node as well. The only real downside here is it's not quite as impregnable as the current main base we are using, but I think we are able to create a kind of choke point over in that area there. And we also don't have quite as much flat area, although I think we have more than enough to work with. So as things stand right now, this is definitely the area that I am the most interested in building a base in. In fact, I'm going to start running another game, and I'm going to see just how good this place is as a main base, but I highly encourage you guys to check this place out for yourself. All right, guys, so there you have it. Those are all the best mining node clusters that I think would make really good base locations that I could find in the game. If I missed your favorite location, be sure to let me know where it is in the comments down below. I would love to know. I'm sure the community would really like to know. But that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, hopefully I have earned your subscription. We're going to have a lot more videos coming your way. We're going to have, of course, more Palworld videos, but with the release of Last Epoch on the horizon, I am definitely going to have some Last Epoch videos coming out for you guys, so keep an eye out for those. But until then, we will see you guys next time. Have yourselves a good one.